Fellas, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I read 38 Letters, which profoundly changed the way I viewed the world and helped set me on a direction that has profoundly changed my life. And I promise you, if that you read these letters, you will also have the frameworks to be able to profoundly change your life. And if you watch to the end of this video, you will find out where these letters are from and you'll be able to go and read them yourself. How do I know this works? Because I was a kid who grew up in the middle of nowhere, Australia, small shitty towns like Alice Springs, another town called Keith. Growing up where I grew up, being in the position that I was in, I should not have been a man that was able to leave my small shitty town, move to London like I did, live in Ibiza like I did, and now living in Dubai earning multi-six figures as a 35-year-old man, especially coming as far back in life as I was. These letters, which I reread the other day, and I think should be read once a month, are profound, and I'm going to share some of the more important ones with you today. These letters are more statements than actual letters, but they really ring true in terms of how you should live your life. Number one, destiny is determined by our actions, not our origins. This really speaks to me and certainly speaks to my story. Like I said, I grew up in the middle of fucking nowhere, Australia, a place called Alice Springs. I grew up there till I was 10. Shittiest town ever, one of the highest crime rates in Australia. Left there, moved to another really tiny town called Keith, which literally had 1,000 people. Grew up on a farm. Honestly, like not many people leave that place. And if they do, they go to the nearest city, which is maybe like 2 hours drive. And that's as far as they get. No one gets and goes as far as I've gone. No one goes to places like Barcelona, to Ibiza, travels all through Europe, lives in London, and now lives in Dubai. And that mindset you need to understand you can cultivate that mindset. Your destiny is not determined by your origins. It is determined by your actions and the actions you take daily. If you say to yourself, I'm not going to be that person, I'm not going to live in this place, you can move. You can take life by the balls and move to cities that you never thought you'd be able to get to. Live a life that you never thought you'd be able to live. Your destiny is determined by your actions, not where you come from. This, I think, is key. A man's attitude towards work determines his future. People mostly say when they're starting their day, I have to go to work. You don't have to do anything. You get to do what you want. You get to go to work. You get to work on your mission, achieve the things that you want to achieve, work on your goals. I don't have to go to work. I get to go to work. And what I do isn't overly interesting. I work in recruitment. Recruitment's like, if anyone's worked in recruitment, you know how much of an absolute ball-breaking industry it is. Constantly on the phones, constant meetings, 1,000,001 things going on all the time, fucking hustling, trying to make deals work, trying to close deals, trying to get money in. It's an absolute fucking pain in the ass. Not many people I know fucking love recruitment, nor did they actually want to be a recruiter. They all fell into it, but that doesn't matter. What matters most is your attitude towards your work. I go in every day wanting to be the best that I can fucking be. I want to be better than every other recruiter I know, smarter, more agile, more efficient, clever with tools, using AI, fucking faster than them on the phone, closing candidates. Like, I want to be better than fucking everyone else. And I work harder than everyone else. I'm up early, 6 a.m. I'm training and then I'm working. I work till 9, 10 o'clock. I'm taking calls late, 10, 10:30. I do what I need to do to make sure that I win, because I want to be a fucking winner. There's only one thing to do in life, and that's win, right? To become a winner, you need to have a fucking winning attitude. And that attitude then gets taken into your work. If you don't like your work, change your attitude, because your attitude determines your future. This kind of ties quite nicely into the previous point. The future belongs to only those who act. If you sit idly in life, life will pass you by. You will not achieve the things that you want to achieve. You will not achieve your goals. You won't do fucking anything. I've lived a pretty wild life. I've said this before in my introductory video, I'm not going to go into it, but I've lived a life where I've got some fucking amazing memories because I acted. I decided that I didn't want to be the same as everyone else. I wanted to live a life that was truly interesting and truly inspiring for me. And I'm still fucking doing it. I'm still trying as hard as I can. And I've still got some big goals that I really want to achieve. And I know that unless I act every day, act when I'm tired, act when I don't feel like it, act when I'm in a shitty mood, act when things are going wrong, that's the only way I'm going to create the future that I want to create. The future belongs to only those who act. You must act. Act efficiently, act effectively, act in a way that makes your ancestors proud. You cannot sit idly, you must act. The higher the risk, the greater the return. Risk is a part of life, and you as a man need to increase your risk appetite. You need to continuously put yourself out there, continuously increase the risk barrier. Your comfort zone is a wonderful place, but you don't grow there, right? Outside of your comfort zone is a risky area, but it's the place that you need to be, and you need to continuously increase that barrier because you increase your tolerance to risk. The bigger the risk, the higher the return. How do you get to a point where you're taking big risks or such huge risks that you get a return? You're either one of those guys who's just got a big set of kahunas and you just go balls to wall more than 110% and see what happens, or you're like me where you developed a real strong tolerance over time. When I was in my late teens, early 20s, I was a bit of a pussy, if I'm honest. Yeah, I trained and I looked reasonably good. I was in reasonably good shape, but like I hadn't really put myself through much toughness, if I'm honest. I didn't really put my body through mentally, physically. I didn't try very hard. I hadn't really put myself through risky situations. The first thing I did to do that was I started training and learning boxing. I then became a boxer, and then I started learning Muay Thai and kickboxing, had a kickboxing fight. I then changed industries, started a business, a clothing label in Australia. I went from being a fully qualified electrician making $300,000 Australian a year to starting a clothing label, making no money, losing all my cash, moving overseas, moving to Ibiza, living there for 6 months, moving to London, living there for a few years, and now moving to Dubai. It was gradual growth for me, but I was only able to do that by continuously pushing myself and taking bigger risks and bigger risks and bigger risks, okay? Because if you don't take a risk, you'll get no return. And the higher the risk you take, the greater the return. If you want to achieve something extraordinary, you must be willing to step into the unknown. This perfectly ties into the previous point about taking risks. You will never achieve anything great in life if you don't go after what you want, and what you want you don't necessarily know. You've certainly not done what you want to do before, but you still have to go for it. You don't have all the answers and you never will. I certainly don't have all the answers. I'm trying to build multiple businesses right now, service-based business, product-based businesses, and I've got minimal idea about both of them, if I'm honest. I'm still very much a novice, but that's not stopping me from taking action. That's not stopping me from stepping into the unknown. I want to build and achieve an extraordinary life, and I'm only going to do that if I'm willing to step into the unknown. Every day I wake up and I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck am I doing? What's the next step? I don't quite know. It doesn't stop me from taking action. You must be willing to step into the unknown if you want to build an extraordinary life. A man's mind is his greatest weapon. Feed it, protect it from corruption. When I was growing up, I always thought that I wasn't smart. I was made to believe that I wasn't intelligent, I wasn't smart. And it was, simple things growing up in a pretty shitty school with pretty shitty teachers, getting sort of basic grades. I never believed until many years later that I actually was intelligent and I have universal intelligence. I just didn't know how to access that. What I started doing at an early age to really develop my mind was reading. I started reading books. I think it was 19 or 20. I said to myself, I'm going to read a book a month. And I started doing that for many, many years, reading as many books as I could, trying to get as much knowledge as I could, trying to become as smart as I can, paying for courses, paying for mentorships, really putting myself out there, trying to become the best version of myself. And it's a gradual thing. It takes days, months, years to really become and cultivate a mindset that is an absolute weapon and that is dangerous in this life. But you start from zero, or in my case, you're probably starting from minus 20 or 30, but you can absolutely develop your mind into a weapon. It is your greatest weapon and you must feed it and protect it from corruption. I don't need to talk much about corruption. People know which type of corruption we're talking about. All forms of hedonism, drugs, alcohol, crime. You need to be careful to not let that in. You've got to develop your mind. It is your greatest weapon. Surround yourself with great thinkers, not fools. And now that I've gotten older, it's really true how important the people you hang around is, right? And when you're younger, it's interesting. You kind of all on the same level, but as you get older in life, and I'm in my mid-30s, I'm 35, you start kind of seeing different levels of people, and you start seeing how further ahead people are in life are compared to you. You also see how further ahead in life you are compared to some other people, right? Now, that's not to judge other people for the lives that they live, but you need to be very careful with the type of people that you associate yourself with. If you are actually serious about your mission, you need to be around guys that are on their mission too, or around people that are on their mission as well. You need to be networking with guys who are above you, so that way you can learn, adding value to their lives, so that hopefully they add value back. And you need to be working with people who are at the same level as you, on the same mission, to keep driving and improving yourself, the form of competition more than anything else. Surround yourself with great thinkers, not fools. If you surround yourself with great thinkers, you'll become a great thinker. If you surround yourself with a fool, you're going to become a fool. Really important. And I need you young men, guys who are like me in your early 20s, late teens, living in the middle of fucking nowhere, Australia, to understand that most of the people you're going to be hanging around with, even though they're your mates and they're cool people, whatever, a lot of them aren't going to be the people that you need to get around to level up in life. You need to get around some serious killers. If you want to gain respect, you must respect yourself. The more you respect yourself, the more others will respect you. Respect comes in many forms. How you dress, how you speak, how you hold yourself physically, how you see yourself mentally, how your body looks physically, how you act as a man. You must act with integrity. You must act with respect other people, respect yourself. If you don't respect yourself, if you don't dress well, if you don't educate yourself, if you don't speak well, if you don't get yourself in shape, how can you expect other people to respect you? And the higher up you go in the business world, in the totem pole, corporate life, wherever it is that you're aiming to improve upon, you need to have it so other people respect you, okay? As a young man, you don't necessarily have any skills yet. So you can't add value to people's life, right? So how do you get other people to respect you? You get other people to respect you by how much you work out, by how your body looks, how you dress, how well you speak, how well you listen, how well you treat others, your attitude and how you show up every day. As a young man, that's what you need to do to gain respect of your peers and of your seniors. As you go on in life, this will compound to a point where you walk into a room and people instantly respect you. They'll respect you for the way you look, the way you conduct yourself, the way you act. And that is you grow your wealth as well for what you've done in life. If you want to gain respect, you must have respect for yourself. The more you respect yourself, the more others will respect you. This is really important. And I don't really need to explain this point much, but I'm going to reiterate it because it is so important. Your reputation is more important than gold. Your reputation with the people that you work with, your reputation with your friends, reputation with your family, reputation with yourself. You must guard that with the utmost importance. It takes years to build your reputation, and it takes one act, one decision, one wrong move to completely destroy it. You've seen it time and time again. People have built great reputations and fucked it with one wrong decision. You have to critically think about your next move and how that's going to impact positively against your reputation or impact negatively against your reputation. Guard it with your life. It is more important than gold. If it means walking away from a big deal, if it means walking away from money and you need the cash, but you know that it's not going to be good for your reputation, do it, because the short-term gain from that will not outweigh the long-term negative effects of affecting your reputation. If you see yourself as ordinary, you will remain ordinary. If you see yourself as a king, the world will shape itself to fit your vision. This is a really profound point, and it's about, from my perspective, belief. How you perceive yourself, how you believe you are, who you are, the life that you're going to live, the things that you're going to achieve. If you don't believe that you can achieve the highest version of yourself and you see yourself as some ordinary guy, your life will remain ordinary. If you really want to achieve something substantial in this life, something that creates a legacy, you need to see yourself as a king. You need to see yourself as the highest version of yourself, the most ripped, fit, rich, good-looking, well-spoken, educated man that you could possibly be. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. You have to believe yourself a king in your own life to be able to achieve and create that type of life. If you see yourself as ordinary, you'll remain ordinary. If you see yourself as a king, the world will shape itself to fit your vision. The world belongs to the brave. Be among them. You cannot go through life as a timid soul. You can't go through life as a timid individual. You have to be brave. Even when faced with uncertainty, even when faced with doubt, you need to show up in the face of that uncertainty and doubt, and you must be brave. When I was a young man, if I'm brutally honest, again, and I've said this before, I was a bit of a pussy. I wasn't a brave guy. I wasn't a strong man. I was scared, and I purposely put myself in situations that I was so out of my comfort zone that I was frightened and nervous and scared, but I just kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it until I developed myself into a brave man, a man that is now not afraid of taking risks, is now not afraid of putting myself into uncomfortable situations and that I know will probably not go my way, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to put myself there anyway because I know that's where the growth is. I know that's where the development is. I know that's what I need to do to become a brave and strong man, and I'm continuously doing it on a daily basis. But trust me, when I was in my early 20s, late teens, I was not the guy that I am now, and I cultivated that. But you need to cultivate that because the world belongs to those who are brave. You need to be among those men. A man who makes excuses will never command respect. Never be one of them. This is pretty straightforward. Jocko Willink talks about it perfectly. I forget what his book's called. I read it years ago, something to do with discipline. But basically, he takes 100% accountability for his actions. And as a man, you need to take 100% accountability for your actions, how you react to certain situations, how people react to you. If you allow excuses to infect your life, you will no longer have control over your life. However, if you take responsibility for every action and everything that happens to you, you then have the power to fix that, to change it. A man who makes excuses will never command respect, never be one of them. Simple as that. This is important. Wealth is not just a privilege, it's an obligation, a duty to build, to create, to uplift. Do not hoard fortunes. Use it to shape the world. People are scared, and certainly in the culture that I grew up in Australia and the UK, they have this thing called tall poppy syndrome. If you put yourself out there that you want to achieve great wealth and you want to achieve great status, you instantly get cut down. Hence the reason that the phrase tall poppy syndrome, right? If a poppy grows tall, they chop the head off. But you need to understand that building wealth in this life is not a privilege. It's an obligation to you. It's an obligation for your family and your extended family and your community. Because without great wealth, you cannot create a world that you want to live in. Use wealth to shape the world. You can't do that if you don't have wealth. So it is not just a privilege. It is your duty as a man to create great wealth. It is an obligation. You have to do it, right? There isn't a like, oh, maybe I'd be lucky. It would be great if I did, or geez, I hope I get lucky. None of that bullshit. It is your obligation. It is your duty. If you develop a framework and have that in your mind every day, you will wake up knowing that this is your duty. This is your purpose, what you should be chasing and moving towards. This is interesting. Many men seek money and fame, but very few seek righteousness and a life that fulfills them. When you're young, I think the idea of having money and fame is very attractive. Loads of cash, loads of women, do whatever the fuck you want when you want. No one telling you what to do. But as a man, you need to grow past that. Money is great. Fame, depending on who you are, and your temperament and how you can handle that, can be good. It can be bad for some people, and we've seen multiple cases in life where people have gotten famous and their life's been completely derailed. But very few men seek righteousness and a life that fulfills them. You need to understand how to live a righteous life. You need to understand what a life that will fulfill you is. And that only comes with quite a bit of retrospective thought and understanding what righteousness means to you and a life that fulfills you. But that is what you must seek. You must not seek money and fame like everyone else. You need to seek righteousness, living righteously, acting righteously as a man, and a life that fulfills you. I can't tell you what that is. Only you can know what that is to you, but you need to find that and find it quickly so that way you can start acting like the man who lives righteously and creating a life that fulfills him. Having a purpose is everything. Without a purpose, a man is lost. Without a direction, he drifts like a ship without a captain. In life, as a man, you need to have a purpose. And it's interesting. The other day, a good friend of mine, one of my best friends, messaged me, somewhat complaining about how he's completely gone off the rails. He's gaming loads. And this guy's my age. It's not like he's in his early 20s, he's in his mid 30s. He's stopped doing self-development. He's not being as present in his relationships. He's not training as much. He's not working very hard. And he's kind of right now in a position where his life's kind of bland. And he's a successful guy. This guy's worth a few $1 million, makes 300-400K a year. It's not like he hasn't built a life that is to be proud of. And when I was reading his messages to me, because he wanted my perspective and my response, my first thought was that he seems like he doesn't have a purpose in his life. What are you actually driving towards? What is making you get up out of bed and drive hard, even though you're tired, even though you're exhausted, even though you've got a fucking 1,000,001 things pulling you in each direction? Like, what is the reason that you're driving in life? Why are you trying to create this life? For me, it's pretty straightforward. Like, as the oldest male in my family, I have a duty to make sure that my mother and father are going to be retired and financially independent, that all my brothers, I've got 4 brothers, that they look up to me as the man leading this family, so that way they can see the life that I've built and they have a blueprint to how to create it. I need to show them how it's done. I need to lead the way. I need to ensure that my parents, especially my mother, doesn't have to work a shitty fucking job anymore, that she can be financially independent. That's why I get up at 6 a.m. every day, get cardio out the way and start working and work till 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, or do what I need to do 7 days a week. That's my purpose. Plus, I want to become the best, most dangerous, physical, mentally capable version of myself. I want people to go, fuck, I completely underestimated him. And I've done that quite a few times now, and I'm going to keep fucking doing it. That's my purpose. I can't tell you what yours is. You need to create it, but you need one, because if you don't have one, you will be like my friend, kind of working out, not really playing too many games, being distracted here, not being present there. You need to create purpose in your life. You have to create it. Once it's created, you then need to go 120% after that purpose and never stop until you get there. Think deeply, act boldly, live righteously. Only then will you have lived a life worth remembering. I think it's pretty important that we understand that we're eventually going to die. All of us are going to die, okay? And you need to live a life that's worth remembering. If it's not just worth remembering for yourself, but for your children and for your grandchildren. And if you create a life of serious extreme value, it will be remembered by many other people for generations to come. You can think about some people that have built empires that are long gone dead that you still think of from time to time. To do that though, you need to think deeply, act boldly, live righteously. These are 3 key facets of life and how you need to live them. So that's it. These are the keys that have built an empire. Well, some of the keys that have built an empire. These are the keys to power, wealth, and dominance. Knowing these is not enough. Most men listen and forget. They nod their heads and whisper that this is wise advice and then return to their weak, mediocre lives. But you are not most men. If you truly wish to be great, you must act. You must embody these principles in every decision, every deal, every war you fight. You must think bigger, move faster, and outwork every man around you. You have everything you need. The only question is, will you use it? Will you build your empire? Will you rise to power? Or will you let those lessons fade into nothing as weak men do? The world does not reward hesitation. It does not wait for you. It belongs to those who take it. So take it. Take what is yours and never look back. Wise words. These words come from John D. Rockefeller, 38 letters to his son. Because these lessons, some of these lessons which you've just listened, I recommend that you read this book once a month. There's more, and they're profound lessons that you need to take into life, and it will help develop you into the man that you need to become to build your empire. Stay dangerous, fellas. See you on the next one.